As a salesperson, what do you need to know about a buyer that's consistently shutting down the salesman? I'm Sylvan Bell. I'm coming to you live from Orlando, Florida on a perfect day to talk about sales and a perfect day to talk about resistance from your buyer. So one of the things that'll happen is if you ever get to sit down with a professional buyer and all they do is buy, they'll try to do everything they can to shut you down, okay? That's one person that'll do it. The second person is somebody who wants bragging rights so that when they're barbecuing in their backyard with their buddies, they can say, look, I got one over a sales guy. And you know, in either situation, you're dealing with an uphill battle. And I'm not saying you can't close it, and I'm not saying you shouldn't work with that person, but there are some people out there that just take absolute glee in ruining your day. So what do? You treat it like a game. You treat it in an instance like, hey, look, you know what? I'm going to do everything I can to close this deal. I know that you're trying to shut me down. I know that you're trying to create a problem. And it's really easy to want to walk away. It's really easy to go see someone else, go talk to someone else. But that doesn't help your sales muscle. And sometimes you're going to make the deal. Sometimes you're not going to make the deal. But here's the thing. You got to practice on them. And so every time that I met with a buyer, when I was doing in-home sales and they were a difficult buyer, I had two options. I could bounce out or I could go, all right, I'm going to dig my heels in a little bit and I'm going to try new content. I'm going to try new stuff that I've never tried before, and I'm going to do everything I can to close this deal. And sometimes what it really comes down to, you need to know, is it's nervous energy. Most buyers don't want to be taken advantage of. I don't want to be taken advantage of. You don't want to be taken advantage of. And it's more of a trust issue than anything else. And so sometimes they're being difficult as saying, hey, look, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't get me at my best. And you know what? At the end of the day, it's not really fair. But the cool thing is now you know the secret. A lot of times that person who's being difficult and they're like, I'm going to shut down the salesman, they're usually an easier buyer than what you think. And if you're going to bounce out, you're not going to find that way to close the deal. Not everybody who is difficult with a salesperson is doing it for any other reason that they're scared. And if you react to it, you're giving them reasons to be scared to shut down the salesman, right? So sometimes it's a professional buyer, they're playing games. They know that if you can't get balance and you can't get momentum, you're not going to be able to close a deal, and it's just going to lead to a quick discount unless you know the secret. And that's what they're trying to do, is get you to the point where you can't get momentum so that you just are selling solely on price. They teach this. There's classes. I'm in Orlando today. There's probably a class here in Florida this week on teaching buyers how to make purchases and throwing salespeople off. There might be someone in the West Coast in California or in Nevada, right? But there's a class today, tomorrow, next week that tells people how to try to hurt salespeople and take advantage of them. The second one is like when somebody wants bragging rights, like they don't want that buddy to be like, I could have got it for less. And so like a lot of times when you make a sale, you need to realize that you're not selling to the person you're sitting in front of. You're selling to their friend, their jerk neighbor, their coworker that they hate, and they're being difficult and they're shutting you down as a sales guy so that when they go sit in their cubicle or they call their cousin or their uncle and they get some pushback, you'd be like, nope, I took it out on them. I got the best deal. I was able to close the seal. I'm the man. And then they flex, right? So some people want to shut down the salesperson because they find happiness in it. A lot of people are going to try to shut down salespeople because they don't want to be taken advantage of and they don't want to get hurt. And they want to say, who can I trust? Trust in the sales process is huge. I've given you a huge secret, a huge sales tip. You know, you could do what you want. Yeah, you could bounce out of a call. You could go, I'm out, time out, I'm gone. Or you could try and sit through it and see what happens. Try new processes. Maybe you make the deal. Maybe you close a sale. Maybe you don't. But if you give up on calls too quickly, it's going to be a consistent problem. It's going to happen a lot. And all you're ever going to do is your go-to answer anytime it gets difficult is to quit, right? So if you disagree, make a note in the box below. Hey, Scott, I disagree. I'm not ever going to meet with a buyer. I don't want to meet with a buyer, right? But I've ridden with a lot of closers. And a lot of times closers, some of the stuff they just ignore. They keep going. It's not that big of a deal. Right? If you treat it like it's a big deal, it's a big deal. If you really don't care, it makes it a whole lot easier a lot of the time, right? They buy from you, they don't buy from you. Either way, you go have a burger afterwards, go have some fun. Try it out. Instead of getting all caught up and like it wasn't perfect, it didn't happen, they were trying to take advantage of me as a salesperson, figure out a way to close the deal. Look for something you could talk to them about. And I'm not talking about rapport. Ask them a better question, learn better questions. Learn how to be a better salesperson, learn how to close more deals. There you go. So you got one thing to do from here. Just one thing, I promise. Find the subscribe button and click on it. Every time I send out a video, you'll get an update that says Scott Bell Consultant sent out a video. You should check it out, which you should. Aloha.